Story 1. I drove 12 hours to my dad's house and stayed 5 days because he guilts me for never staying more than 2 nights. I'm divorced with grown kids who were coming later, so it was just him and me for the first 3 days. On the first day, he told me at noon he was leaving at 1:30 because he had plans with his partner. He invited me to dinner at her house but said he would spend the night there. I declined and planned a solo day in my hometown. It was annoying that he left me, but whatever. I spent the day running errands, came back early, ordered my favorite local takeout, wrapped presents, and fell asleep on the couch. At 5:30 a.m., he felt something was wrong and checked the thermostat app on his phone. He saw the temperature was 71 degrees. Knowing he had set it to 68 degrees, he was sure I had fallen asleep upstairs, left the gas logs on, and that the house was about to burn down with me in it. So he did what any 72-year-old would do with a 45-year-old son staying at his place. He came home, woke me abruptly from the couch, and yelled at me, veins bulging and spitting while he shouted. All over a 3-degree difference. He then spent 5 hours questioning me about my career, personal life, and mental health, pressuring me the whole time. So this will probably be the last Christmas I go home. Story 2. My 25-year-old cousin panicked because she thought she had received fewer presents from our 90-year-old grandparents. She made her mother and our grandmother cry. Story 3. My friend's Christmas was ruined. Her parents left home to stay in Florida and were supposed to return for Thanksgiving and again on Christmas Eve to spend time with their children, but they never came back. They left their 17-year-old daughter, her adult sister who is legally blind, and their grandmother, who just had a stroke and is in the hospital, alone and without financial support. The only person earning money is the 17-year-old. She could only spend Christmas with her sister. For the past few nights, my family has invited her to dinner to help. No teenage girl should have to face such stressful events without her parents' support at Christmas. Story 4. Grandparents told everyone they give one person something nice each year and that it was finally my turn. They gave me the big green egg and a patio desk I had been saving for. After they appeared pleasant to everyone and the others left, they told me it was actually a loan and that I would need to pay them to keep it. I told them to fuck off. Story 5. My mother invited my nephew, who molested my daughter, and told us we could leave if we could not get over it. It happened 5 months ago, and he is still in a court-ordered juvenile program. In her mind, I ruined her family by reporting the grandchild she loved more to the police. Story 6. Grandma forgot where she hid the presents. I haven't found them yet. Story 7. I gave my little girl a drone. It went up in the air the first time and kept going. That was about 8 hours ago. Could still be going. Story 8. My mother screamed at everyone, including the children and my elderly grandmother who was discharged from the hospital this morning, that she does not want to be a full-time caregiver. No one asked her to care for my grandmother. For the past few years, my mother has been asking my grandmother for her inheritance early so she could buy a house. My grandmother always said no. My mother moved in with my grandmother a month ago and now wants her to move out so she can live in the house alone, rent-free. Where my grandmother is supposed to go is beyond me, since my mother has refused to participate in plans for a care home because that would likely involve selling the house to pay for care. Story 9. I ruined Christmas. I went to my partner's Christmas gathering for the first time. I am an immigrant with a very different cultural background, but they were all friendly and welcoming. They suggested playing bingo with no money, which sounded fine. Then the family matriarch wanted in and asked everyone to put in 50 cents a card. I did not want to play for money but felt too awkward to say no. I did well at first. I started with $10, but before the final card I had about $5. Then they wanted to do a full blackout game at $2 a card. I tried to be polite and play only one card, but the patriarch sitting next to me told me to play 2 cards, so I did. I was 1 spot from winning when he picked up my card and cleared off my markers. It was very awkward. Then they called my last spot and I won the whole prize, about $60. Some people were clearly sore losers, and the rest of Christmas was very uncomfortable. I laughed it off. Story 10. The drunk driver who was joyriding last night and totaled my car in a hit and run did a good job of ruining my day. Story 11. My stepmother physically attacked me on Christmas last year, so I decided to skip the family get-together and stay home alone this year. It has been better than last year, but I am still upset. Story 12. I drove 4 hours to spend the day with my dad at his request 3 weeks ago. Then, immediately after lunch, not even dinner, he said he and his new girlfriend of 4 weeks had been invited to a friend's dinner and were going. My drive was longer than the time he spent with me at his house. So now I am watching Christmas movies and drinking with my grandmother instead. After trying to fix our relationship, which has been rocky since I was a teenager and I am now in my 30s, it is great to realize he truly does not care. Story 13. Halfway through opening gifts with the family, I was in enormous pain. I ended up spending most of the day in the emergency room because of kidney stones. I could have done without this surprise. Story 14. My family flew into Paris from one country while he flew in from another. He had a complete mental breakdown because no one came to the airport to escort him to our Airbnb and instead ordered him an Uber. He proceeded to scream at and verbally abuse my parents, saying they had abandoned him and left him to fend for himself in the wild unknown that is Charles de Gaulle Airport. He then threatened to leave immediately and refused to leave his room, not even to eat, as a protest against my parents. He is 35 years old, and my parents paid for his tickets. This trip is entirely on their dime. Story 15. I think I did. I realized I can have a great Christmas by not going home and instead spending it with friends. Story 16. My ex told me she was going to stay the night at her mother's house on Christmas Eve because she missed her. I said that was her mother, go spend time with her, and that we would meet in the morning. On Christmas morning, her mother called me asking to speak with her because she could not reach her. I said she should be there. Her mother said no. She had not seen her all night. That is how I found out she was cheating on me. Update. Thank you, everyone, for your support. I am doing fine and will be okay. I will be living with family for a while. For anyone curious, we were together for 5 years. Story 17. My 80-year-old uncle ruined Christmas Eve with the family. We had to cancel. He got lost while hunting, but not far from the road. He heard my brother-in-law and my grandfather searching for him, but he was embarrassed and waited until sunrise to come out after everyone had gone home following hours of searching. He thought they would not be back yet. My 80-year-old grandfather, the brother of my uncle, had open-heart surgery this year and is undergoing radiation for cancer. He could not sleep all night thinking his brother had died in the woods. Grandfather and other older family members felt so ill from stress that we had to cancel. Update. I appreciate the input and concern. Unfortunately, he is very prideful and I am not close to him, so there is little chance we could convince him to get evaluated for dementia. I will speak with family members to see if it would be possible. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you all had a good year. Story 18. When I was 5, my father died by suicide on Christmas Eve. I woke up, saw presents under the tree, and went to wake him, but he did not wake. My parents were divorced and it was his weekend. It was just the two of us. Many hours passed before my mother and the police arrived. That was over 30 years ago, and I remember everything about that day. I would say he ruined every Christmas since. He struggled with alcohol and pain pills. Story 19. We were raided by the police. My son is in jail. I will not bail him out. He ruined Christmas for 12 other families, not just ours. Story 20. My mother screamed at my dad like a banshee at about 6 a.m. All he did was put water in the coffee maker. When you add water, it immediately starts brewing. I guess that was too early to start the coffee. I'm not sure what her problem was. For the first time in several years, my entire immediate family was under one roof for an extended period. We were staying at my grandmother's house for the holidays. My mother has always been prone to fits of rage and used to explode often when I was growing up. I haven't been around it in 9 years, nor have my brothers, but we got an ugly reminder of her behavior yesterday morning. My dad does not believe in divorce. He works nights to avoid her. They pass like ships in the night, have separate bedrooms, and lead separate lives. My dad's uncle just passed away. That's why we all came together. We typically do not celebrate Christmas together. I overpaid to fly home and opted out of Christmas dinner to do so. I left 2 days before everyone else. I can't do it. It's as if she's possessed by a demon. Story 21. My sister brought her dog, which immediately walked over and threw up on my child's presents, as if it had been planning to do that all year. Story 22. My whole family is ill, and I will start a medical treatment soon that will severely suppress my immune system. This treatment is used in some chemotherapy regimens, so no one is coming over today. It is for a kidney condition that has become resistant to corticosteroid treatment after 6 or 7 years. Thank you for your concern. Story 23. My dog was acting weird last night. Around 11:30, by 2 a.m., he was in surgery for bloat. He is going to be fine, but it was not the Christmas I had planned. Story 24. My father has been in the intensive care unit for the past 6 days, so my mom, the kids, and I went to the hospital. He was in a bad car accident 10 days ago. No one is in the mood for Christmas this year. Story 25. My 45-year-old brother and a neighbor of about 30 were involved in a head-on collision in front of the house last night. Both were killed. The neighbor left behind a pregnant wife and a 3-year-old. It was a surreal Christmas. Story 26. Mother-in-law. Constant negativity and hateful comments. It's exhausting. Story 27. Not my morning, but my night. I just caught my partner of 14 years with another woman. Story 28. Norovirus. I was up all night with a vomiting 6-year-old and had to sleep on the floor in his room. He last vomited at about 4:30 a.m. today. I stripped the vomit-covered sheets and showered him in the middle of the night. My hips are killing me from sleeping on the floor. Merry Christmas. Story 29. Brother-in-law, 12:06 a.m. Breakfast casserole knocked out of the fridge and spread all over the floor as he reached for another midnight snack. 6 minutes flat. Impressive. Story 30. My mom told everyone there will not be any more babies in the family, so my sister can throw out my son's crib. I am actively trying to get pregnant and have been taking steps to improve my health to make it happen. I had cervical cancer last year and a few other uterine issues. She and everyone else in the room know about this. Story 31. Mom got drunk on Christmas Eve and woke up for a midnight snack from the Christmas dinner. She left the food out and the dog ate it. Story 32. My mom overdosed, and we spent the day in the emergency room. Magical. Story 33. My 16-year-old cat died this morning in his sleep. I did not tell my 7-year-old son because of Christmas. He is staying at his grandmother's house tonight, and we will tell him tomorrow. We are devastated by the loss of a family member, and I dread telling the child. Story 34. My father-in-law texted my husband this morning and asked if I was pregnant again. The entire family said I looked a little round at Christmas Eve dinner. Story 35. Georgia Power lost power during prime time while I was cooking a casserole. Story 36. My mom invited my ex-girlfriend to the family video call because she still considers her family. My girlfriend of 2 years was not happy to meet her. Story 37. Apparently having a rather severe migraine and not wanting to eat terrible food at Golden Corral means I ruined Christmas. My family is returning my gifts because I did not toughen up and deal with the pain. After they ate, my parents, grandparents, and sister showed up at my house uninvited to guilt-trip me for not coming. My mother barely spoke to me except to say I should have dealt with the pain before getting in the car. My sister tried to put me on the spot to hug that same mother, the one I have seen incapacitated by migraines dozens of times throughout my life. Story 38. My brother is a malignant narcissist. He did not even bother to return my 8-year-old son's "Merry Christmas, Uncle Mike," before he walked out of the house and took the keycard for the hospital parking lot. I had to pay for parking when I brought my father to visit my mother to celebrate Christmas. She had nearly died last week because of unresolved aorta issues. He is 56 and lives at home with them in a house he claims is his and that he has put $200,000 into. The law begs to differ. The house needs to be in your name in order for it to be yours. Also, on behalf of my sweet, innocent son, Fuck you, asshole. Story 39. There are a lot of people in this thread who panicked overnight. Story 40. My mother and sister clash very often. They had a huge argument last night before I got home from shopping. The negativity carried over into today, and it has been one of those days. Words do not do justice to the situation. Merry Christmas, everyone. Story 41. Both cats scarfed and barfed. Getting out the carpet cleaner was not in the plans today. Story 42. Normally the kids wake me at 5 in the morning, but this year the dog woke me at 4 in the morning because it had diarrhea on the carpet. Story 43. My parents and I have had a strained relationship since I was a child. I live out of state and am not able to visit every year. This is the first time since the pandemic that I have been able to visit, and dinner was at their house. They made a shrimp boil. I have been allergic to shellfish since I was 14. This is the second year in a row they have served it. I did not say anything or make a scene. It is not worth it at this point. I ate what I could quietly. I am certain they noticed, but as is their way, they said nothing. Story 44. My 8-year-old daughter gave me a little book with fill-in-the-blank prompts about how much she loves her dad and what I mean to her. She had been saying all week that she had a present that would make me cry, and it did. Our cat promptly threw up a lot on the book about 2 minutes after I had finished reading it and set it on the couch next to me. He was sitting on the back of the couch and managed to vomit onto a couch cushion. A new blanket, my wife's phone, and the gift from my daughter all at once. Luckily, the book was salvaged, but Christmas definitely went on pause. My daughter was crying, but I told her that sometimes things are so absurd you just have to laugh. Story 45. The number of people who have accidents on this platform is a little alarming. Story 46. It happened last night. My cat tripped my mother and she broke her arm on the way down. The emergency room had a surprisingly short wait time. The cat is fine and has no regrets. Story 47. A family member became so intoxicated that they vomited profusely while opening presents and had to be taken to the hospital for alcohol poisoning. They are fine now. Story 48. My mother-in-law decided to overwhelm our 3-year-old son with poor quality gifts in excessive quantity. We had been adamant that she should not go overboard. He became so fatigued from opening gifts that he broke them by dinner time and did not open any of his few gifts from us or Santa. It was very disappointing. Story 49. My husband pooped the bed twice after eating a bag of almonds I told him would cause diarrhea. Story 50. We had a close call. I was preheating the oven this morning for breakfast and was unaware that my partner had put a baguette in the oven wrapped in plastic. Fortunately, we were in a warm place, so we were able to air out the house easily and nothing caught on fire. There was just a bit of melted plastic. Story 51. My wife broke her arm a week ago. She already has problems with patience and blows up at me. Because her arm is broken, she needs help with things. No problem. But I will not tolerate being talked down to. She has been having meltdowns because I cannot braid her very long hair. She needed help getting a ring off her finger, and I was not doing it the way she wanted. She kept saying it was obvious how to do it. I tried her way and it hurt her finger. She asked for a piece of ice, so I got it. She then said she also needed a napkin with a huge attitude and that she was going to get covered in water. I told her that I could get a napkin, but she needed to speak to me nicely if she wanted help. She doubled down on it being obvious, and I said, if it is so obvious, then what are you saying about me? Are you calling me dumb? She stormed off. Later that day, she needed help getting a stain out of her shirt she wanted to wear. I tried to wash it in the sink, and I got more water on it than she wanted and did not get the stain out because it was not a stain. She started flipping out, saying I had done it wrong and that I ruined her Christmas outfit. I told her we could dry it relatively quickly, maybe in 10 minutes, and we did not need to leave for 3 hours. She cooled down, but since the mark was still there, she said we needed to bleach it. So we went to bleach it. She needed help opening the bleach. Instead of asking me, she grabbed the bottle, shook it in my face and said, well, I asked what she needed, and she said it was obvious. Yes, it was obvious, but she could ask me nicely. She flipped out and said never to help her with anything again and that she was a bad person. I told her not to make a big deal about it, but she got ready by herself. I told her that it was not my fault she was hurt, and I had no problem helping her, but to please just ask me for what she needed, and that if I was not doing something her way, that was okay. When we got home from Christmas with her father, she could not find the ring she had taken off. It is her $20,000 engagement ring. She started freaking out, assuming someone had stolen it. We were staying at her mother's house, and it was in a bag in the bathroom that she had asked her mother to move to our bedroom. Her brother and mother and some family from her stepfather were having Christmas at her mother's. Her brother overheard and asked why she was accusing them. He said they had not gone through her stuff, and then he asked if anyone had stolen her ring. Of course, it turned up a few seconds later under the bag. But everyone immediately left because it was so awkward. Rough Christmas. Story 52. Ellen works at my mother's workplace. She went to the Christmas lunch while sick and later tested positive for coronavirus disease 2019. Now my mother and 3 other colleagues have it as well. Because of Ellen, at least 6 high-risk people have been exposed and all 3 family Christmas gatherings are canceled. I am extremely fucking unimpressed with your work ethic, Ellen. Story 53. My dog Waffles decided to try to wake everyone to see Santa and must have scared him away. The whole house was awake at 2:30 a.m. Story 54. My wife got the flu and had her period on Christmas morning. She has been absolutely miserable. I have done everything I can to make this the best Christmas, but it has not been easy. I return to work tomorrow, and I am sad I did not get more time with her. Story 55. My mother sent a barrage of profane text messages, telling me I am a bad person. Story 56. I had an accident on Christmas morning. Luckily, we live next door, so I could run home and fix things. I ruined Christmas. Story 57. My wife immediately told me, after opening all the presents, how disappointed she was in what I got her. Or, I suppose I did by buying her poor gifts, depending on your point of view. Update. To answer some questions, we have been married for 25 years. Most of the gifts were from her Christmas list. She was unhappy that I did not also buy items that were not on the list. Creative surprises I have done in the past. I arranged for her favorite artist, Dar Williams, to call her for her birthday. For her 50th birthday, I surprised her with a convertible Volkswagen Beetle. I surprised her by flying her friends out to stay with us for Christmas a few years ago. It is not that I cannot be creative. I just was not this year. Story 58. I am broke and decided not to go to my brother's house for Christmas because I always catch something there. I cannot afford to see a doctor, so with so much illness going around I chose to stay home to avoid getting sick, since I do not have the funds for a walk-in clinic or any prescriptions. Story 59. Someone in my parents' neighborhood died of an overdose this morning. She left 4 children. The youngest is 7. I can't imagine how devastated those children are today. Story 60. It was my year for my daughter to wake up at my house on Christmas. My ex refused to let me pick her up. Story 61. I put my husband and children on a plane to join the rest of our family on vacation. I drove 12 hours in the opposite direction to be with my dying father. Story 62. My dad ruined Christmas dinner for me. I was switching 2 chairs at the dinner table, and one chair with arms was too tight against the table and next to impossible to get into. He shouted at me for moving the chair. Apparently he had done some measuring and was getting a few extra chairs that he thought would only fit a certain way, and he was already mad that no one had put the extra leaves in the table. I knew nothing about that. I was just going to sit next to my child. It was humiliating. I know I should not have been the one to feel embarrassed. I tried to shake it off, but my eyes filled with tears. I am going through a divorce from my emotionally abusive husband of 20 years. He is being awful about our 12-year-old, and I am more emotionally fragile than I realized. Thank you so much to everyone for the supportive comments. I am usually late to threads and my comments are rarely seen, so I did not expect this and I appreciate it. I hope 2024 brings you all peace and joy. Story 63. My dad contracted coronavirus disease 2019 and must self-isolate. It is unfortunate, but I give him credit for being responsible and letting me know in advance. Story 64. My parents' puppy managed to open and eat half a jar of tetrahydrocannabinol body balm and had to be taken to the emergency veterinarian at 1 a.m. She vomited a large, mango-sized, menthol-scented ball that I caught in my hand. She received medications, was monitored, and is doing much better now. Story 65. My son is 11 years old. I love Christmas and tend to go overboard every year with my kids. I overcompensate for never having a happy Christmas growing up. He is at the age of making inappropriate jokes all the time. I had no idea you could make that many ball jokes in one day. We were trying to watch movies as a family, and he was sent to his room after being asked to stop repeating the same joke because he wasn't getting a reaction. He went on a rant, calling it child abuse and saying we favor his 14-year-old sister. This is his usual insult when punished. He screams child abuse at the slightest inconvenience. Apparently, this is a trigger for me. I was physically, mentally, and at one point sexually abused as a child. Knowing he probably had about $1,000 worth of things under the tree to open the next morning kind of broke me. I cried myself to sleep last night and did not want to get up this morning. Story 66. My dad is dying of cancer. This is one of the last Christmases we have with him. We love watching Star Trek together, and he also loves Earl Grey tea. For Christmas, I bought him a mug from Etsy that says tea, Earl Grey, hot. He really loved the gift. My dad, exhausted from chemotherapy, went to take a nap. My 30-year-old brother was playing with my 5-year-old nephew and they accidentally knocked the mug over and broke it. I broke down crying, but my brother immediately found the same mug on Etsy and ordered a new one. He felt awful. No harm was done overall, but thinking about it still makes me want to cry. Story 67. My roommate was supposed to be gone all day, but he had a hangover and told his family he had coronavirus disease 2019. Story 68. My girlfriend stayed the night. I went to her place this morning and found her cat dead. The cat had been fighting an illness but had seemed much better. I would not say it ruined Christmas. It was just a sad end to the day. Story 69. Christmas was actually going pretty well. However, after dinner, my mother started screaming bloody murder from the living room. Then I heard her yell, "Why has bin Laden in my fucking nativity scene?" She has this nativity scene with a bunch of willow tree figurines. The three wise men all had white robes and that style of hat or turban. Someone had dressed one of the wise men in an action figure's camouflage jacket and taped a cutout of bin Laden's face onto the figure's head. She is not one to swear, especially on Christmas, but she was fucking furious. She demanded to know who did it, but nobody admitted it. She started accusing people and went after some relatives she did not like. This sparked arguments about old grudges, and it got quite heated. It was me, by the way. I did it. Story 70. My husband's mouth suddenly became very small and tight. His jaw began moving back and forth. His eyes widened. He became very talkative, as if the whole world were hysterical and perfect. He had only gone to the garage for less than 5 minutes, and I knew. Every moment after that felt tainted and sad. Story 71. I understand my brother's father-in-law is busy denying the Holocaust, and our parents' 50-year-old oven doesn't get the turkey above 150 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm thankful I'm 1,000 miles away. Story 72. My uncle's girlfriend announced that she is pregnant. She was very excited and even had custom t-shirts made. My uncle had a vasectomy after his second child was born almost 30 years ago, and he is in remission from prostate cancer diagnosed 4 years ago. He is sterile. Story 73. I started my period and appear to have come down with a stomach bug. I have been vomiting all day. Story 74. When I got my 2-year-old up this morning, he kept saying a mess over and over. I thought he meant his toy tractor, which had something stuck to the wheels. While cleaning it, I could not figure out what it was, so I checked his room and found that he had vomited everywhere. It was on his bed, blankets, pillows, playmat, and rocking chair. I woke my husband and we started cleaning. Partway through, I started vomiting because I am 3 months pregnant and cannot handle that. My husband had to finish cleaning alone and shampoo the chair and mattress. This was not how we imagined starting Christmas. Story 75. Our senior blue heeler acted really out of it today after breakfast and going outside to potty. We just returned from putting him to sleep due to bone cancer. He had a good run, 15 years. I don't blame him for ruining Christmas. It was an honor to be his family. I am heartbroken. Story 76. Laughing out loud. My sister egged my brother's car the other day. He kept bringing it up. She yelled that he had stolen her weed, and he made it very obvious that he had not gotten her a gift. Story 77. Alexa, that bitch canceled the timer for the cinnamon rolls. Story 78. My mom's dog was most likely taken by a coyote this morning. The only evidence we found was a patch of blood. Story 79. If you were to ask my family, they would say I spent the day at home by myself. It was a Merry Christmas for me. Story 80. This was not their fault. A childhood friend of mine was in a car accident and died the day before Christmas. I am currently at their family's home, helping them cope with the loss. Story 81. My granddaughter told me the cat had blood on his mouth. He had been losing weight. I managed to open his mouth and found a large lump on one side that was bleeding and smelled terrible. Everything I have read on the internet points to cancer. I am going to beg the veterinarian to get us in tomorrow. If the internet is correct, the cat will most likely be euthanized. I am heartbroken. My granddaughter cannot stop crying. I do not currently have a job, but he needs to be seen. I cannot stand seeing him suffer. If we cannot get him into our veterinarian, the only other clinic is very expensive. I am heartsick. Story 82. I think this year it was me. My relationship with my family has always been strained. They do not really try to keep in contact, and I do. Then get hurt when it is not reciprocated, quit for a bit, feel bad, try again, repeat. I went to my parents' place yesterday, knowing in advance that my brother and I might leave today or stay until tomorrow. My family is, for lack of a better phrase, incredibly boring. They do not do anything. We have our 45-minute chat and then we sit around in silence, uncomfortable, for the rest of the day with a shared sense of not really wanting to be there. I try to get them to do something, but they will not. I brought board games, but they are not interested in learning because they feel it is complicated. And when I have convinced them to play, they treat it like a chore and often walk away before finishing. There is no fun, only frustration. I suggested we watch a movie or television, but they said there is never anything on. I brought my laptop and a high-definition multimedia interface cable so we could stream something, but they were not interested. Realistically, anytime we have tried to watch anything, they get bored, get up and walk away, or flip channels until they fall asleep. How about music? No, they did not feel like it. They do not drink. They do not have other hobbies or friends. They are not into sports. They just do nothing. So my parents asked whether we were thinking of leaving today or tomorrow, and I told them today, and mentioned we find it hard to spend 3 days there because we do not really know what to do with ourselves when we are all just sitting around in silence. This really hurt my father. He said he understood, but I could tell he was hurt and kept apologizing about how boring they were. While we were packing up, he came back with $100 and forced me to take it to help pay for my rental car. I think he felt guilty asking us to come because he thought we did not want to be there, like he owed me something. I know he is also going through his own father's end of life, and I have tried to be supportive, but he has not allowed me to visit or anything, and I just do not know how to spend time with him. I left feeling like an absolute bag of crap because I do not know what to do. The vibe at their house is never happy. I try to offer activities and they are never interested. They just want to sit in silence or disappear to separate corners of the house to be alone. In retrospect, I should have brought a book and just hung out. If I am going to sit in a corner and read while my parents are off doing their own thing, I would rather do it in the comfort of my own home. I feel like an absolute asshole. I am pretty sure I really hurt my father, really badly, and I do not know how to fix it. I keep trying my best and it is never right. Story 83. My husband, we have been separated for 6 months, begged and cried to come over on Christmas Eve, so he could see the children open presents in the morning. I said yes on the condition that he and I would not fight or be alone in the same room to avoid arguing and ruining the children's Christmas. Of course, he proceeded to pick fights with me and tell the children I was keeping the family away. In the end, I feel I ruined Christmas by allowing this and have never been so disappointed in my own judgment. Story 84. I got a massive bout of food poisoning last night that carried into today. I can only blame myself. I trusted a fart around 11:30 in the morning. Story 85. Whenever my dad is in a bad mood, he makes it everyone else's problem. That is true on any of the other 364 days of the year. Sometimes misery is a choice. Story 86. My entire family ruined Christmas by disinviting me because my aunt was offended that I received the vaccine. Story 87. It was me. I passed out in the kitchen. Turns out I have blood clots in my lungs. I am currently in the intensive care unit. I dislocated my knee on Thanksgiving. I have been ruining a lot of holidays lately. Story 88. I woke up sick and ran to the bathroom to throw up almost as soon as we unwrapped. Knock on wood. I'm starting to feel better and am drinking plenty of fluids. I got left out of the traditional hibachi dinner, but they'll be bringing me some egg drop soup. The dog is curled up at my feet. I finally get to watch the first 2 Home Alone movies, because no one else in my family loves them like I do. Story 89. My father walked in, ignored me, announced his engagement to a woman I had never met, and then left within 15 minutes to spend Christmas with her family instead of ours. I live in the South and had traveled north to see the family. It was nice to see the grandparents at least. Story 90. My husband said to take $300 out of the account. I did not unwrap any gifts today. I would have at least liked a card. Story 91. My brother woke up with an attitude and, a few hours later, flipped out at my sister, my father, and my stepmother. He packed up his family to drive 6 hours home. Story 92. My in-laws stayed up partying all night and were too hungover to get out of bed for most of the day. Story 93. This might sound whiny and melodramatic, but Christmas morning was ruined on September 17th of last year by the person who drove high, killed my mother, and drove away, leaving her lying at the side of the road. Fuck that person and anyone who drives high. Story 94. My appendix ruptured. We missed the Christmas activities this season because we had coronavirus disease 2019 and then influenza. The poor kids have been troopers. Story 95. Kids came bounding into the bedroom at 5 a.m. 2 were mine and 2 were my girlfriend's. They were aged 8 to 12 and excited. My girlfriend freaked out, started screaming at all of them, crushed Christmas, and forced them to sit in their rooms for another hour. In my mind, I was done. I got up and tended to all the kids. She joined us a half hour later, tossing the presents and generally being a monster. That was 19 years ago. I left a few months later. I never regretted it. I enjoyed Christmas each year with my kids. Story 96. My dad told me, a white mother, that I should not make my daughter, who is black, look ghetto with cornrows. She is 13 months old. He has not held her and barely acknowledges her, probably because she is black. I am finding out how racist he is. He will not be welcome in my house anymore. He is 89 and he can stay gone. Story 97. My dog farted in my face, but that is not out of character for him. Story 98. My brother-in-law, who is my husband's sister's husband, doesn't stop talking and pesters everyone. Story 99. Last week my husband picked up his parents from the airport after their European trip. They were sick and did not tell him. 4 of the 6 people in my house have coronavirus disease 2019. My oldest could not come home from college. She had to go to my sister's house. I avoided coronavirus disease 2019 for 4 years, and my in-laws' carelessness ended that streak and ruined Christmas. I did not finish my shopping, and I miss my daughter. I wonder how many people on their flight also had a ruined Christmas because of them. Story 100. It was me. I could not drive 4 hours to see my family because I was hit at a red light this month. My back and neck are in bad shape, so I could not drive on my own. We missed each other and my heart is broken. I will go next weekend with a friend driving. Story 101. My 12-year-old's second present was a lighted makeup mirror. She set it on the dog's foam bed, and the mirror fell over and broke. She was devastated. She thought she had ruined Christmas, but she had not. Story 102. My girlfriend's 14-year-old brother wanted to show his uncle he could drive. He immediately reversed into her car, damaging the driver's side door and tire. Story 103. I am divorced and live in a small town with a population of 700. My ex has moved on, and I am hosting my 3 children, their spouses, and 2 young grandchildren. My daughter thought that 23andMe kits would be the perfect gift for the whole family. We received them in October and agreed to look at the results on Christmas Eve. Long story short, only one of the 3 children is biologically mine. My youngest married a local woman last year, and they are trying to have a baby. It turns out they are first cousins. What should they do? What should I do? What should we all do? Story 104. My nephew was drunk and rude to his brothers, which was surprising because they are in London and he is in China. Story 105. I tested positive for coronavirus disease 2019, so everyone had to leave. Story 106. My adult daughter said she relapsed. Merry Christmas. Story 107. I just received a text from my stalker. He will not leave me alone, even though I have not spoken to his significant other in almost 3 years. He continues to harass me. Story 108. When I was 4, I opened the presents under the tree because I thought Santa had brought them for me. No one received a wrapped present that year. Story 109. Just before dinner, my aunt screamed at me because I got excited about the Giants game. It became so uncomfortable that my wife, son, and I had to leave. Story 110. My sister got a stomach bug at 3 in the morning, with vomiting and diarrhea. Her boyfriend developed symptoms a few hours later. Dinner was canceled to avoid spreading it further. Unfortunately, the turkey was at their house. Story 111. My nose started bleeding at 9 a.m. 2 minutes before my parents arrived to open presents with my kids. 3 times I thought it had stopped, only for it to start again, and I dripped blood on the floor each time. My uncle found an open pharmacy and brought me Afrin, so my nose finally stopped bleeding sometime after 12 p.m. Story 112. Dad flat out said to my face that he did not care about me. Story 113. My last hour at work. I am a nursing home nurse and had a busy day, but I was on track to finish on time. Then, within about 20 minutes, 2 residents fell. This was on top of multiple acutely ill patients, several family member drama issues, and both my psychiatric patients being themselves. The provided lunch was underwhelming, and my intended snack break to eat the lunch I brought was taken up by patient care. I was still feeling okay, and then the night shift noticed a mistake the previous night shift had made. Normally I would have caught and fixed it, but I did not. I know I have to talk to my boss to advocate for myself, my fellow nurses, and my residents because this group is a little too heavy and is not safe. But that is a 10 out of 10 anxiety-inducing feeling for me. When I came home I smiled, opened presents with my tween stepkids who were on their 3rd present of the day, ate an amazing meal that I could not fully appreciate, and snuggled my dog. It is a lot. Today has been a lot. Story 114. It's me. I'm the problem. I got my child a virtual reality headset. I let him open it last night. I played it for 4 straight hours this morning and left him sleeping late so he would not take it away. We were the last to arrive and barely on time for my family event. Story 115. It was not Christmas morning, but Christmas Eve. My mother told me that she and my father are getting divorced, as if she had discovered a new yoga studio. Story 116. I woke up at 4 a.m. to pee and heard my aging blind dog wandering around. I made it to the living room just as he started to urinate in the middle of the floor. As I scooped him onto the pee pad, my other dog vomited. I cannot blame them. They are both very old, so in the spirit of Christmas past I will blame myself. Story 117. My fiancé and I are celebrating our 2nd Christmas together, but we have known each other since we were kids. Last year we were T-boned on our way to my parents and spent the day in the hospital. This year he told me he does not believe in Christmas anymore, did not buy any gifts and will not be opening any. Story 118. Boomer grandparents exploded into a religious fit because I have a ball python. Fucking stupid. Story 119. My dad failed to mention that he was having sudden health issues, thinking it would go away on its own or that he would rather wait until after Christmas to see a doctor. We spent the 2 days before Christmas in the emergency room and admitted him to the hospital on the 24th in the middle of the night when treatment did not show signs of improvement. I have been carrying the entire mental load of the Christmas chores and now monitoring my dad's condition on top of that while worrying every night. I haven't properly slept in a week. I love my dad dearly, and I do not care that Christmas was ruined as long as he recovers. But why do older men always make things so complicated about their health? I could have worried a lot less if he had said something in time. He could have received treatment on a regular day when more doctors were available, and he would not have risked his life by letting the health issue escalate. Update. Treatment is finally working, and he is looking a lot better. They will do a thorough checkup tomorrow when the doctor shortage is over. Dad has been happy about the visits and has cried a little while telling stories about happy days. He says he is glad he is in the hospital now and has more peace of mind because he can leave his health to people who know what they are doing and stop worrying. He says he needs to start accepting that he is not young enough to put off going to the doctor. I hope he remembers that next time. Story 120. My furnace quit on me. I managed to kick it in the right place and it is providing heat again for now. Story 121. I decided daughter number 2 was getting shortchanged on presents, so I got her an awesome tentpole gift. It was a little too awesome, and daughter number 1 had a bit of a moment which was entirely my fault. Amy. Story 122. My father died 29 years ago. I realize now this thread is about today. Please do not worry. I was young. Story 123. He yelled at me for not knowing where his things were while I was making Christmas dinner. The conflict continued the next morning with a breakfast of arguments, and he let me cry while saying he did not feel bad for me. Story 124. My uncle said something racist while holding my 2-month-old black nephew, my sister's son, in front of my black brother-in-law. It wasn't directed at either of them, but we decided to pack our bags and drive 8 hours home instead of spending time with the family that defended his racism. Story 125. My partner of 17 years bailed on a long-planned Christmas potluck dinner with my small family. My sister and her young children drove 5 hours to come see us. We did not exchange gifts, and all I asked was a short but meaningful dinner with my family for the holidays. He watched me get dressed, load the car with food I had been cooking for 2 days, and then told me he did not feel like going. I arrived alone, sat next to his empty place at the table, and answered questions all night about where he was. He was playing Call of Duty. This was after he had not contributed any effort to Christmas around the house. I handled the tree, decorations, groceries, meals, and gifts for our families. His one job was to put up a simple string of lights outside, which he never did. Going to bed hurt, and I felt foolish for ever thinking he cared about me. Story 126. My dad died today. I spoke to him yesterday. He was here then, and now he is not. Story 127. My brother-in-law knocked into and broke my ceramic tree and did not apologize. Instead, he chastised me for there not being enough room in my house. He has never once offered to host, and most people would say sorry for breaking your belongings. Story 128. I had an emotional breakdown and ruined Christmas. It has been a hard year, and I had been trying so hard to hold it together. Story 129. My mom's husband got drunk in his shed and was angry that his own kids did not come home for Christmas. I am now the victim in a domestic violence case and had to physically defend my mom and remove him from the house. Story 130. My grandmother has always given me grief about my weight. Subtle comments here and there about my body that I have done my best to take in stride. For the record, I know I am not in perfect shape. I am about 50 pounds overweight, but I am fairly active. I run 5-kilometer races, and I am working on losing the weight. Every year she bakes cookies to put in everyone's gift bags. We open gifts one by one. So when it got to me, she said, "Something different this year for you?" And I pulled out pajamas. No cookies were in sight for me, but they were still given to everyone else. To top it off, she was confused about why I got upset later when I realized what she had done. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.